this week, Bloomberg Business Week, to follow this program. Coming up, we're going to be joined by Senator Scott Brown, former Massachusetts senator. Boy, this is like we're going back to the rack on this one for this old Boston boy. And we're going to be talking about something that we've gotten to a bit on Balance of Power. It's called the American Innovation and Choice Online Act. This is the antitrust bill that Senators Klobuchar and Grassley, D and R, actually managed to get out of committee. It's got big tech scared. And it's interesting because, as we've discussed here many times before, targeting big tech appears to be one of the few bipartisan issues in Washington. Now, they may be for different reasons. Democrats are concerned about these guys being too big, overreaching, having too much influence, stacking search results, whatever that might be, while conservatives allege censorship, squashing voices by using algorithms that the public never sees. This is what we were talking about, of course, with the Twitter deal. This is why Elon Musk wants to buy Twitter and change this around. This bill, though, not only has big tech scared, it has also got the attention of Scott Brown, who is now chairman of the Competitiveness Coalition, the former Massachusetts senator and former ambassador to New Zealand. Senator, welcome back to Bloomberg, Ambassador. It's great to have you with us. Looking forward to your thoughts on this, as we have been told that Democrats and Republicans want to keep big tech in check. Why are they wrong?
Well, first of all, Joe, it's great to be on. And when you said old in your intro, I had to kind of figure out what you were referring to. I feel like I'm 25, and my wife says I act like I'm 12. So
I was talking about myself, I think. 30. Ambassador, you're making me feel old. It's been a while since we saw you at the Park Plaza on that fateful night in Boston. But what has drawn you to be chair of the Competitiveness Coalition and invest this much of yourself in this issue?
Well, first of all, thank you. I was in New Zealand, actually, for 4 years. I was one of the longest serving by a couple of weeks behind Israel, and saw the influence that China is having in that region, trying to really take it over. And they're also trying to take over the tech field. And when you see some of the legislation, and I still pay attention, I still speak to a lot of my former colleagues. I'm still very active on a lot of the issues affecting our country, especially when it comes to job creation. And looking at a bill that is being proposed by Schumer and Klobuchar and Warren, that already apparently has been endorsed by the Justice Department, already being talked about positively by the Commerce Secretary, red flags automatically go up. And I understand the concerns that conservatives have about censorship. It's real, but this bill does not have anything to do with censorship. It really has to do with the overreach, I believe, and others believe, of the government taking over and putting prohibitions on an industry that, respectfully, is the number one in the world. To think that if we do this, China would be thanking whomever, because it would give them an edge to do their free flow of whatever they do, as we know, to try to get a technical and tactical advantage over our businesses. Yeah. And I'll just add this. Picture you have a small startup company in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, the triangle down in the Carolinas, California, and they're trying to compete on a global basis, and this bill affects them and all the other technology companies. Innovation is where we create jobs. Innovation is how we stay on top of the rest of the world and every facet of our lives.
This is being pitched as a bipartisan. I mean, it is a bipartisan bill, Ambassador. Does Chuck Grassley have a different view? Has he been misled on this?
No. Listen, I like Chuck. I have a lot of respect for him, actually, and we had a great working relationship with him. But I think a lot of my former colleagues are focusing on the censorship issue and feel that this may be a vehicle to address that. And that's not going to happen. There's no way that they're going to allow for censorship. And if it is censorship, it's going to be the government overreach that the liberals and a lot of the more liberal members of the Senate and House are going to try to impose on our businesses. Is there an issue with censorship? Absolutely. But you're not going to take a sledgehammer when you need a scalpel if there's a specific issue, and let's address it. I mean, Elon Musk purchasing Twitter, I think that's a first good step of having outside parties come in and try to right the ship or have new innovation and new opportunities to do different and better things and maybe treat people a little bit differently. It is some self-governing and self-checking of that industry, I believe, will be coming down the road. But to think that somehow the government is going to be in favor of doing and passing a good bill, I mean, just look at the FTC. Sure. It's no longer that bipartisan group. Look at the Commerce Secretary. She's out trying to push the United States in tech and innovation in Europe, in the EU, but then she comes here and
talked with her last hour.
Does the complete opposite.
We just talked with her last hour, as a matter of fact. But I'm curious what should be done then, Ambassador. The Competitiveness Coalition that you're now running advocates for what you call light touch regulation. So how do you get to the issues that conservatives do have with big tech without, in your words, using a sledgehammer?
Well, it's not this bill. There is a vehicle, and certainly I think it's important, not only censorship on the left, but censorship on the right. If you don't like something, you just turn the channel, shut it off, go to a different platform. But when there's a specific concerted effort to focus on people's views and beliefs in clear violation of the First Amendment, that's not what this coalition is focusing on. This coalition is looking at this particular bill, which does not address the issue that Chuck and others are concerned with. And it basically, I think, puts a very, very large wet blanket on our job creators in a space that we are the leaders by far. And we do not want to lose that technology edge, the high-tech edge. We just can't do it. It's not American, quite frankly.
It's not lost on me, Scott Brown, that you now, 10 years later? Gosh, I covered all of your campaigns in New England, in Mass and in New Hampshire, that you are on the other side of a major issue, once again, from Senator Elizabeth Warren. Did that draw you into this?
No, listen, Senator Warren and I get along. We certainly have, we focus on the things that we agree on, and we actually have spoken a lot, and she was one of the people that helped really get Chuck Schumer to get me through to be an ambassador, and we have a great common relationship as far as it can go. Yeah, absolutely.
See, we're breaking news here. My God.
No, it's not news. It's already public knowledge.
Cats and dogs living together.
That being said, when I think that she and others are wrong, I'm going to speak up. And I believe, especially when it comes to one of our largest job-creating sectors, and taking a piece of legislation that you want to give a fancy name to, basically everyone says, oh, my God, that's
Ambassador,
a great idea.
I wish I had more time, but we're out of time. Come speak up more often. This is Bloomberg.